Hi, I'm Catherine from the Little Bishes Stitches Knitting Podcast. Thank you for tuning in again this week. This is our third episode. This is a knitting podcast about knitting, crocheting, and hand dyeing. I am the hand dyer behind Little Bishes Stitches hand dyed yarn. I'm coming to you from Hohenlimburg, Germany. That is in Northern Westfalen. There's like little states within the country, and that's where I am located. I live here with my husband and our two children and our dog Blue. So yeah, so today we have a lot to discuss, or I have a lot to show you. It's been quite a few weeks since I've had my last podcast. Some things that are on the agenda today are the works in progress that I've been working on, things that I've finished, also a giveaway that's been or had been going on. It closed yesterday, December 12th. This giveaway includes our Black Dahlia mini skein set. It's an 80-gram set of mini skein sock yarn, and it's merino wool. And with this giveaway, there's a few other goodies, including a soy wax candle from Recycled Light Germany and a wool wash soap from a local hand soap maker, Sauerland Seifen. Yeah, and then later I would like to maybe share a little bit about what I've been up to, what I've been watching, and then at the end I am going to show a little bit of the yarns that I'm dyeing at the moment, most of which are Christmas yarns, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to showcase them in here because I think, yeah, dyeing yarn, or rather dyeing Christmas yarn, kind of really saved the holiday season for me. You know, with regard to kind of like all that's going on with COVID and whatnot, it's a little bit difficult here and there to kind of think like, okay, how can I get into the holiday spirit? What can I do? And watching Vlogmas and dyeing Christmas yarn really helped with that. So maybe I can also help you get a little bit into the Christmas spirit, and thought I could share a little bit about that. But first and foremost, let's get into our into my works in progress. So in the last episode, I showed a shawl that I was working on. It was a shawl that a friend of mine had asked for, with specifically the colors that she would like for the shawl. So I whipped up some colorways for her that I also have showcased in the shop. The shawl that I started knitting was originally supposed to be a shawl that I guess I had worn at some point, and she really liked it, but she specifically asked that there weren't any that there wasn't like a lace pattern in it. So then I decided to kind of whip up my own pattern, and thought to myself like, wow, this is a really great opportunity to kind of like practice this this skill that I basically never thought could be possible for me. But then I decided that I would like to make my own pattern and then also eventually publish it. Originally I thought that I could publish this pattern by the end of the year, but that's not happening. I would say probably between January and the spring. And the shawl that I'm knitting for her is not the, let's just say, final pattern that's going to come out. I am personally a fan of a little bit of lace and yarn overs with other things going on, and maybe even stockinette stitch with purl stitches. But basically the layout of this shawl will be the shawl pattern, but it'll definitely be different with a little bit more going on in its finality. So this is the shawl that I'm knitting for her. I don't want to give too many details away about it, but it's basically an easy cast on starting at the top. The shawl gets wider and has this really beautiful edging going on. It is basically only knit stitches. Let me see if I can make it a little bit wider so that one can, because it rolls a little bit, makes it a little bit tricky to see. But this is basically the sequence that she wanted it in. She wanted a green, she wanted something like mustard yellow going on, a brown. The next color to come will be a red, and the final color will be a blue. So like I said, I started dyeing up some colorways. This green, it's a little bit blown out because of the light, but this is our Garden Walls colorway. The next color to come is our Lionheart colorway, and this is a new colorway, basically a new colorway since Friday. This is Fudge. So this is a brown, really beautiful, luscious and saturated. Also still have the cake, and I really like how it's has depth in terms of like how the color hit the yarn, maybe more saturated on some surfaces, but then less saturated on others. Gives a really cool soft depth, and I like brown, so it's really kind of like a comforting color. So like I said, this is our colorway Fudge. This will probably be in the shop in the new year. Right, and then the next color, like I mentioned, is going to be our Bloodlust color. It's more so of a red color. Also, you know, different in terms of how the color sits on the yarn. More saturated on some spots and less saturated on others. And then this is our Dante colorway, which unfortunately looks a little bit black, but it is more so a dark navy, yeah, even if you want an indigo color, but it's more so with blue tonals. And all of this yarn is in our merino cashmere nylon DK. It's also a superwash yarn, and this is a base we carry in the shop. So yeah, I've really enjoyed knitting the shawl. I'm trying to make it quite wide. It's impossible to make it as wide as, oh, maybe I can get it going, but I would like to basically knit it just as long so that you can really wrap it around your neck several times, and so it still sits comfortably and not too tight. But yeah, like I said, it's a really nice knit. It's basically really potato chippy stockinette stitch, but it makes a garter pattern. And you really don't have to think much, which is also kind of cool sometimes, because although I do try to be monogamous in my knitting, it doesn't always happen that way. And then you can kind of, you know, grab this project and kind of give your brain a rest. So yeah, like I said, this is almost like a template for a pattern that will be coming out between January and spring. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say with that. So then moving on to our next project. About 2 years ago, I started knitting a sweater for my husband from Jared Flood. This is the Rift sweater from Brooklyn Tweed. Yeah, I have to say, maybe I can break the ice with this detail, but I have taken this sweater at least 1,000,000 times apart. So, and I guess at some point you just get tired of having 1,000,000 skeins of yarn rolling around your house, and you know, because when you take it apart, you have all these skeins again, but you have like all little balls. So I just made one big ball. So yes, this is my agony in a ball. But I was determined, because I thought to myself, well, I don't know, I'm the type of person that says, like, I told them I would do it, so I will do it. And I told him I would make him a sweater, so I told him that, and I would make him a sweater, and I will, and I did, and I am. So yeah, so this is, I guess if we're by the yarn right now, this is also Brooklyn Tweed. This is in their Shelter base, and this is their Soot color. So yeah. So then let's go to the sweater. I am currently still working on the back, shaping the sleeves. but it is a, I guess to start off simple, it's a, one second, it's a bottom up sweater. The cast on calls for a tubular cast on. I was having total difficulty with that, and I thought to myself, before I rip it out a million times again and destroy the yarn, I'm just gonna do a normal cast on and yeah, work from there. But this pattern is basically intermediate. It's, I won't say it's quite complicated or it's terribly hard or whatever, but I think what helped me really to get to the point I am without having to rip it out again was that I knitted the Ronin cardigan, also from Brooklyn Tweed, and I was able to kind of figure out, okay, what is it that they're asking? You know, what is it that they're kind of alluding to? How can I organize my thoughts? How can I organize my knitting? And of course, I had to maybe write them a couple times just to make sure that I was really on track with the sweater, and that also really helped because I think the most thing that gets us knitters or crocheters is doubt. No, we always think to ourselves, did I understand that properly, or is it really what they're saying? We all interpret things differently. So no, that really helped. And like I said, it's a bottom up, and it has really beautiful notions throughout the sweater that really make it a very stimulating knit. Basically, you know, you start with your in the round cast on. It should be or could be a tubular cast on for the bottom, and then it basically goes in purl and stockinette pattern. There are some spots where you do a little bit of shaping, and then you come basically to the point where you have to then separate for the sleeves. So basically what you do is from bottom to up, you knit, and the sleeves are then knitted separately, and then they're sewn on. So just so you have an idea of kind of like what this is and what it will then turn into. I will also post a picture in the video, kind of like what I did with the Ronin cardigan to the side, that you can see what the end product is supposed to be. So like I said, I'm basically to the point where I'm shaping the back sleeves, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I will then go to the front sleeves. And back and front sleeve at some point. There are also where you go to also shape for the collar. Yeah, so I swatched this before I started knitting because I figured to myself it could help prevent you having to rip it apart again. And as always, it was really a lifesaver. I'm using Knitpro carbons I'm not using Knitpro carbons. I'm using just a generic 3.75 millimeter needle. Carbons I'm using with my for my shawl. That's why I guess I bought those two in jumble together. So yeah, I'm really loving this knitting this pullover, and I'm super excited that I most likely won't have to take it completely apart again, and that my ball of yarn will be then at some point smaller. I also have a really cool stitch marker that I made myself. It's a little Eiffel Tower that I made with a lobster clap. I really love France and Paris and whatnot, so when I saw that, I thought to myself, cool, I think I'll make that myself. So yeah, so that is the Rift cardigan, or pullover rather, from Brooklyn Tweed. The next work in progress I have is the Everyday Shawl from Drea Renee Knits. The Everyday Shawl from Drea Renee Knits. This is also a work in progress that I started quite a while ago. I almost want to say 2 years, but every once in a while I feel like working on it again, because like I said, my focus really for my knitting is taking everything that I have in terms of stash and projects that I started And of course, you know, I have to weigh whether or not I want to frog certain projects or if I want to keep going. I really don't have any projects that I want to frog. But like I said, I just want to start knitting whatever it is I have and finishing those projects I started. Because for me, I think to myself, then I have a clear head and can also move on to the next thing. And then I don't have all this yarn laying around that I think would probably just completely stress me out. Like I said, this is the everyday shawl, and I have it in my project bag. This is my witch project bag, which is totally cool. It's almost like, you know, you're out on the street and you're in the city and there's these witches everywhere and they're kind of doing their thing. One is knitting. There's a couple witches there who seem like they're waiting for the bus or something. One is reading. One has a little baby in a, baby yarn thing. And I ordered this bag from an Etsy shop 4 years ago, maybe. I don't really remember. Maybe there's a tag on here. Quilt Knit Create, I think. Quilt Knit Crafts is what they're called. I don't know, maybe check them out on Etsy if you like this. Maybe they're still around. It's also located in the United States. And I think she's located in like Louisiana or Mississippi or something like that. But like I said, I got this on Etsy. So let's open it up. I'll take a sip. So like I said, this is the everyday shawl. I also have some more Brooklyn Tweed going on. This is also Shelter, and this is their Sap color, which is also the same color that I used for my rodent cardigan. The pattern starts with a chevron border, which was really cool. I love the way Andrea Mari writes her patterns. They're really, how do you explain that? They're really organized and concise and super easy to follow. And I don't know, it's almost like they're made so that you realize you're moving along, you're progressing, and it's almost like this positive reinforcement. I mean, at least that's how I feel. And it really motivates me to go to the next one and to the next one. And also her like fashion sense is really super cool and almost up the same alley as me, so I enjoy purchasing her patterns and knitting them. So like I mentioned, this is a chevron border that kind of starts and then it basically goes into a really, I'd say long length of just stockinette stitch. I am knitting this on my Knitpro carbons. And I believe I have this in the 3.0 millimeter needles. I love knitting with Knitpro carbons. They're really pointy and they're really, they're nice that they just slide, or the yarn slides on it, and it's just so much easier on your hands, and also, much more of a pleasure to knit with. So like I said, this will go on for a little bit longer with the whole stockinette situation. It's a front and back knit. As you see, at some point we will also then come back again to a chevron border. And while I'm knitting the stockinette section, there's also buttonholes that are supposed to be knitted. Because at some point the shawl will basically wrap around and you can basically close it in the front with the buttons. So like I said, we have a chevron border and we also have a really cool edging going on. So for this shawl, I have to order more yarn, and we'll then apply the helical knitting concept that one uses with hand-dyed yarns or yarns that are from a different lot, let's just say, so that there isn't pooling or too much contrast going on. So I'm hoping that I can have this done by the spring, because right now my shawl project that's going on for a friend is priority on the list, and the sweater, of course, as well. My husband is asking me for the sweater for Monday. That's not happening. So yeah, I'd say those two are basically kind of on my priority list. But nevertheless, I have other projects going on that I also wanted to show today. I still have my Habitation Throw on the needles. And I really love this throw because it's, I don't know, it's just so comforting and so rhythmic, and it's always nice when I yeah, maybe finish a skein of yarn, or I get my Patreon minis from a Homespun House. I'm always excited when they come in the mail, and I don't know, they give me such a nice, squishy, comforting feeling that I think to myself, like, okay, now go over to your Habitation Throw and see if the colors that you got will mix with the colors that you knitted, and basically keep going. So as I showed the last time, this is what my Habitation Throw is looking like. I basically started the throw with leftover colors from my colorways that I've colored as a hand dyer. This is our Blue colorway. This here is our Cruella. This color here is our Pyretta. And this color here is our Garbage colorway. Maybe I can show it a little bit closer. Yeah, those bases are basically in our, this is a superwash merino nylon, the Cruella colorway as well. And then these colors, for example, Pyretta, Garbage, and Locked and Loaded, they're in our MCN base, our merino cashmere nylon. And then it goes down basically to the Homespun House colors that were Patreon minis. I don't recall what the name of these colorways are, but then I stopped and broke it up a bit with a colorway that I made. This is our Come With Me colorway here, and then another Homespun House colorway, and then I have our Honey colorway here going on, and then basically the rest are Homespun House Christmas colorways. So yeah, at some point I have to, I think, reduce or start decreases once the yarn that I've knitted reaches a certain weight. I believe this was originally meant for advent calendars that were 10 grams. And this, by the way, this Habitation Throw is from Curie's Handmade. I forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. Yeah, and basically, I think it was basically meant for advent calendars, 10-gram minis, and at some point when you have a certain weight that you've knitted, you're supposed to start the decreases so that the throw takes another shape. So yeah, always nice, always cozy, always squishy, and I really enjoy knitting on this from time to time. So the next work in progress that I have is also kind of like, or I'll say the next two that I have are also kind of similar to the Habitation Throw. It's something that I always come back to. It's something that I always like, kind of like knitting on when I have rests going on. So yeah, I started the Cozy Memories blanket. I used the tutorial from Craft House Magic for this. And yeah, so far I basically only have my squares going on. I still have to order one of those really long knitting needles, although I think you can use any long knitting needle for it, to start building the surface of the blanket. But I have a couple going on here. This is from Beehive yarns. I just don't remember the colorway name. And then these two are the same colorway, but they're from a fellow hand dyer friend of mine, Mimiweatherwax. I also made a pair of socks of these, or out of this colorway. I think I made the dark forest socks out of those, and then I had leftovers for the squares. This is a Homespun House colorway. This is a colorway I created a really long time ago. This was my caramel latte colorway. Also a really squishy yarn that was from the days when I had an Etsy shop. It was also quite popular. Here is my yarn. This is our Atlantis colorway. Came out also really cool. It almost looks like moving water. I am currently making a square out of our Wolverine colorway here. And what else do I have? Yeah, and then I also have another square on the needle. This is our Autumn Blood Mood colorway. This is a Halloween yarn we had in the shop last fall. So this is the ball for it. All the bases for these yarns are basically kind of, you know, different. Some are just, you know, merino cashmere nylon. Some are just superwash merino nylon. So they're all kind of like jumbled together, but I think that's also what makes the cozy memory blanket so nice, is that you have all these really nice memories of the yarns you knitted with, the projects you made. They're all nice, soft, and squishy, and that is the whole point behind it. So it was kind of like a spontaneous idea, but last week or last Sunday I created an Advent vlog, and it was the second Advent, where I basically showed the day with my family. Nice, warm, cozy atmosphere, kind of like what we were doing during the day. And as the day was winding down to an end, I started working on my granny stripe blanket, which is, again, kind of like a scrap situation, something mindless, something cozy, something soft. And I showcased that a little bit in last week's vlog, but I will show it again here. So I basically started this 2 years ago, or maybe almost 3 years ago. We were on vacation in Alicante, Spain, and I had never crocheted before, and I wanted to really learn because I really wanted to make this blanket. And a friend of mine who was an amazing crocheter, had enough patience to kind of show me a few moves. And I'm by no way any amazing crocheter, but somehow through the steps that they showed me, I was able to create this blanket. So again, this is just a whole bunch of different hand-dyed colorways, either from my own company or from other hand dyers that I really admire. So, and I really love working on this granny stripe blanket. So, and it's it's nice sometimes, but it's also sometimes really stressful, because you think to yourself, did I really pick the perfect color? Do all the colors kind of melt together like they should, or like you imagine they would or should? But at the same time, it really is rewarding. And I'm really like a process knitter. Like the whole idea of doing something handwork is, or from the world of hand making, handwork, whatever, really kind of like helps me to burn off my energy, burn off my anxiety, and through the whole process I just feel like I'm able to filter a lot. And so for me, maybe it's not as optically pleasing or aesthetically pleasing as most people would say. I think we all have our own tastes, but it definitely does the job for me in terms of the process knitting. So the next work in progress that I'm going to show is also a finished object. And that is because one half of it is already done. I don't have a lot of, or I'll say any, at least except for this one sock, I don't have a lot of finished objects this week. I think it's because I just really started a lot of projects in the last 3 weeks. And haven't really gotten to binding anything off or casting off. So starting with the bag, this is a progress bag. So starting with the bag, this is a project bag that I had handmade from a friend. I went out and picked the fabric, it's really kind of cool because it has like a half moon shape, and then above is the zipper, and then the inside is black. Yeah, I like dark and spooky things. I like witches and occult stuff, and I mean, I'm not too like a yeah, scary eclectic or whatever, but I don't know, I like those sorts of things. So yeah, so I thought the fabric was super cool, and she made me a project bag. So yeah, so work in progress. So I have basically here the second project, her second sock going on. This is the Blueberry Waffle sock by Sandra Turner. I showed this sock last week, or the sock set last week. I always start with a German longtail cast on, and then I go to the basically 1x1 twisted rib. So I have one purl and one knit. Makes it also super stretchy so that the sock sits a bit better on your shin. Yeah, and then we go to the cuff, which is basically also a simple pattern of purl 2, knit 2, 2 rows, and then basically the next 2 rows are just complete stockinette. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, so you know, I can tell you a little bit about what's going on in the sock. The pattern doesn't call for a specific length, or maybe it does. I don't really pay attention to that. For me, in the first place, it's always important how the sock fits on my leg and how it sits on my foot. So I basically go based on that, and I am a big fan of socks that have a longer cuff. I really don't like it when it's short. And what's positive about this pattern is because of the tandem knit 2 purl 2, it makes it nice and squishy, and also makes it nice and elastic, and it basically helps the sock to sit or hold a little bit better to your shin and not always slouch down. Yeah, and now I'm basically on to the heel flap. The heel flap that I'm using is the first heel flap that I ever learned when I learned how to knit socks. It is basically when you're working on the wrong side, it's just purl straight across, and then on the right side, it's a little bit difficult to see because of the hand-dyed yarn. It's basically you pick up the stitch, you knit the second, you slip the next, and then you knit the next, and then it basically goes slip knit until you're to the end, and then you turn it, and then you basically purl across. And yeah, like we all know, you do that until your desired length, and then you can start with the gusset. So yeah, for this project, I used our Locked and Loaded colorway. This is in our Superwash merino nylon. It's a 75% merino, 25% nylon base. It's mega nice to knit with. It's super squishy, elastic, and it's very, very warm. Yeah, and I am using my Knitpro Zings. I really love to use these needles, as I've mentioned before, because I'm a super tight knitter, and I really like my socks at least to be, yeah, almost like machine made, straight, tight. And this is the 2.5 millimeter double pointed needles from Knitpro, and I really love knitting with them. They're also nice and slidey. The tips are nice and pointy, so you're not constantly splitting the yarn. And yeah, and then here on the other side, I have a stitch marker from Kath's Eye Catcher. She has an Etsy shop where she makes handmade stitch markers, and she sells them. The information to her Etsy shop I'll include in the show notes. I just ordered a set of stitch markers from her where this little beauty was also attached or included. Where do I have them? I just had them. Come back in here. Oh yeah, here they are. So she basically has stitch marker sets, especially from stitch markers that are made from this material. They all have somewhat of like a color theme, and these are the other stitch markers in the set. They're really nice red and tonal earthy colors. One second, I put like a little bow on them, but this is how they're looking. They're really beautiful. They're like little stones almost, kind of like with a amber and red and earth tone colors. So yeah, so those are the stitch markers I'm using for that. Yeah, and then basically on to my one and only finished object. This is the second sock from the Blueberry Waffle socks. So in here, as I mentioned, the type of heel that I did, or heel flap, and I basically finished or kept going with the pattern on the top of the foot. The rest is stockinette. And then for the toe, I also kind of like just do my own pattern where I basically start the first, must be 10 rows where I basically decrease every row. And then I try the sock on to kind of see where the yarn is, if I am almost to the tip of my foot. And if I notice that, okay, I'm almost there, then I'll do the decreases every other row. And then put it back on again and see kind of where I am. And then if I notice that I'm almost there, then I'll keep doing the decreases every row. And I always basically bind off with a Kitchener stitch. It's a little bit difficult to see because of the hand-dyed yarn, but that's technically how I would then also go about making any pair of sock with that finishing off the tip. I mean, if I also have a pattern where there's something new that I've never tried before, I'll try it too. But I basically like doing the toe in that fashion as well as the bind off. So yeah, so those are my works in progress and my one and only finished object. Okay, so now we're moving on to the giveaway segment of the podcast. A couple weeks ago, I started a giveaway on Instagram where I was giving away an 80-gram mini skein set of superwash 75% merino, 25% nylon mini skeins. And this is basically our Black Dahlia mini skein set. This is also in the shop currently. It's really a beautiful sock set, kind of like a celebration of purples. I really don't have a favorite color, let's just say, because I think color is what inspires, and maybe one day it's green, maybe the next day it's blue, but I think I have a tendency for purple, and I just thought that this would make a really mega pretty set. So the giveaway, like I said, includes the 80-gram mini skein set, and it also includes a soy wax candle from Recycled Light Germany. This is a maker here from Würzburg, Germany. I'm a huge fan of Recycled Light, and I'm in no way, shape, or form affiliated with her in terms of like getting discounts or getting making any promotions or whatever. I've always been a fan of soy candles, and I came across her candles, and I just ordered a couple and just fell in love completely the first time because they're just, the packaging is awesome. It's so sleek, and it's so compact and cozy. The glasses are dark. The candles are clean burning. It doesn't have any crazy overwhelming scent, and it's just it just burns really slow. And yeah, so I decided then to carry these candles in my wooden chest marketplace for makers. That's also an additional section of my hand-dyed yarn website, where I sell candles from Recycled Light. So yeah, so like I said, part of the giveaway was also a candle from Recycled Light Germany. It is in their Preiselbeeren scent. I've also tried the scent out. It's amazing. It's just so Christmas spirited and fruity, and just really nice. And then in addition to the giveaway, I also have one bar of a wool wash soap from Sauerland Seifen. That is a local hand soap maker who lives down the street from me. I've known her products for a really long time, and I've always really liked them, and also am offering these soaps in the shop. And what I think is so cool about her soaps is that it's really like basic, grassroots. The ingredients are natural. There's nothing synthetic in there or animal cruelty products. It's not completely vegan, but it's I'd say maybe to 75-80% vegan. And there's olive oil, cocoa oil, fruit oil, and just, this soap here, it doesn't have a scent, but she has tons of other scents in her own shop. And in my shop, I'm carrying her Provence soap, which is a lavender soap, and there's also a patchouli soap, which I really love because I love patchouli. But anyway, that is the giveaway package, so to say. So this giveaway closed yesterday, December 12th, and I used a random number generator via Google to choose the winner. And the winner is on Instagram, MS Marby. So congratulations, MS Marby, and thank you for participating in the giveaway. It's always so much fun to do these giveaways because, as a maker, you think to yourself like, wow, that's so cool. I want to play and see if I can win something. And when you can make another maker happy with all these things, it's always a really cool feeling. So MS Marby, please let me know via DM, via Instagram, or via YouTube, or email on my website. Basically all your address information for your giveaway, and as soon as I get the information, I'll send it out as soon as possible. Once the giveaway goes out, we'll have to see what's going on in the world in terms of COVID, but I hope that it gets out to you as soon as possible after you've given me your contact information. So in addition to your giveaway, I'm also putting all of this lovely stuff in a recycled light Germany bag. She sent me one. I think it's kind of cool. So I can put all that stuff for you in here and get it on out to you as soon as possible. So congratulations. So in this next segment, I'm going to talk about a few things that I've been kind of doing to keep in the Christmas spirit. As I mentioned, and I can imagine it's for a lot of people the same way, 2020 was really hard in terms of a lot of things going on in the world with COVID, and a lot of tough news coming out, and us having lives that can't run the way they used to. And then you have the year, or the time of year changing, the summertime, the winter, maybe you have a birthday, or then you have the Christmas season, and this year we're all spending it differently, not as we're used to. I have children, and I mean, not because that makes that any different from a normal person experiencing it, but as a parent, you're always kind of there being the Easter bunny, or showing them look, now it's fall and we're gonna do fall things. It's kind of difficult during this time. And what's always nice about, I guess, having the opportunity to always show a holiday or a season with your child is that it reminds you yourself to also celebrate, to kind of take a moment back from, your daily lives of, getting up, working, making dinner, going to sleep, and doing it all over again the next day. And since this year it's a bit different, it was a little bit challenging to get into the spirit. So every year I've always watched on YouTube the Vlogmas series from other makers, whether that's hand dyers or crocheters or whatever. And this year I was so excited and pleasantly surprised that so many makers really put the pedal to the metal and made their vlogs and post them every day, and just helping us all to be in the Christmas spirit. And so I decided to, really every day that I see one, popping up, I put it on my playlist and I watch it and use it also as an opportunity to kind of sit there and relax and knit a bit and drink a tea maybe, to also kind of practice a little self-care. I'm also really big in self-care. And so I wanted to share a few of the names or the few of the vlogs that I'm watching currently. I also have no affiliation with any of them. I'm always excited when they say, thank you for watching my video or whatever. But like I said, this is just me sharing with you. Maybe you also think to yourself like, oh, I'll check it out, and then you like it, and then it also makes you happy. That's really only my objective. So the first vlog that I'm going to mention is Arnie and Carlos. I really, really love those guys. They're so refreshing, and you can really tell they've been everywhere. And the way they talk and what they share with you is really, really cool, and very enlightening. They have a lot to share in terms of their experiences, from where they were at one point in their lives in the world, or where they were with their family. In the vlogs, they're basically sharing a lot of the Scandinavian traditions, which I think is super cool. I've always been a fan of Scandinavia and would really love one day to visit there, and it's so cool to hear about what it is that they do during the Christmas season. I'm not really sure in terms of the time frame, but it almost seems like they have a culture that has a daily routine, and it's also a culture that is almost according to the time of year, which I think back then for their country it was they followed the times of the year, and it basically told them what to do, whether that was farming or whatnot. So they're not going through the vlog in terms of what they do in the on the farm all day, but they basically show or share a lot of the traditions that they had as children, a lot of the traditions that they keep going and also share with their family. And they're also showcasing every day one knit Christmas ornament that's basically a ball, and it technically has all different types of, I guess, objects or symbols that also is maybe from their daily routine during the Christmas season, and I've really enjoyed watching that. The next vlog that I've also been watching is By the Lakeside. That's a Sandy by the Lakeside. Her vlogs are really cool. They basically take place mostly at her home. They're super cozy. She shares a lot of what she does during her daily life as a maker, especially during the Christmas season. A lot of what she's cooking, what she's preparing for the family. She also shares some moments with her family, with her children. It's a really super cozy vlog, and I really enjoy watching her because I think we're always doing something, we're working, we have daily lives, and sometimes we get to the point where we feel like it's totally spinning out of control. And I love to hear her ideas and her perspectives about some of that stuff, because it kind of helps you to take a moment and be like, okay, I'm not the only one who's oh my God, how am I going to do this? And it kind of puts a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of figuring out what you're going to make for dinner, or when you're a maker and you have a business, some ideas on how your day runs or how you can make it more effective and better. And like I said, her vlogs at the moment are mostly based on the whole Christmas spirit and the Christmas season. So it's all that kind of into one package. It's a daily vlog as well. The next vlog that I'm watching that I wanted to share with you guys is Girl Meets Yarn. I really love her podcast and also her vlogs because she's really always to the point and very honest, and very bare in terms of what's going on in her private life. She also has an amazing talent for sewing and knitting, and she's sharing that all during the Christmas season as well. The next one is Brooklyn Knit Folk. I've been watching Brooklyn Knit Folk for the last, I think, 3 years as well. And her vlogmas are really cool, especially how they always start off with her cats and, you know, kind of like also what she's doing in her daily lives. The one thing I think is really cool about her vlogs is that she shares a lot of her life living in Brooklyn and living in, or Brooklyn, New York. I'm originally from New York, and I didn't grow up in the middle of the city, but I grew up outside, and I also went to art school outside of the city and spent a lot of time in New York. And yeah, since living in, you know, since we've been living in Germany, we've been here for the last 10 years almost. It's super comforting and amazing to see all that she shares. It's almost like a, you know, daily guide of New York in terms of like, you know, what's going on with Christmas options and what they're getting from the bodega down the street and what they're cooking that day. And she shares a lot of things from like the art historical world. She's a graphic designer, at least I'm assuming that's what she does. Can't remember if she said that specifically. I'm sorry if I'm not giving you the right title for your job, but it seems that she's doing something in graphic design, and also has a lot of friends that are from the art history department. And it's really cool to kind of see that daily and just a complete jumble of yeah, Christmas season fun. And I really enjoy watching her vlogs. Yeah, so the next one I'm watching as well is Simply Serving. This year it seems, due to, I guess, maybe what's going on in her life, positive, that the vlogs aren't every day, but I really love watching her vlogs and also watching the podcasts that she has here and there. She is a progress keeper, clay designer, who is super talented and makes a lot of amazing claymation or clay progress creatures and stitch markers. And she also shares a lot of her life in terms of, you know, home life, what's going on in her job as well as a maker, which I always think is very fascinating, being that I'm also a maker. And yeah, and also with a nice touch of Christmas spirit, and it's always really a nice, warm and cozy vlog to watch. So I'm also enjoying that. The next vlog that I'm watching, which is basically connected with a Patreon account, that is the Homespun House vlogmas. Molly is an amazing hand dyer, and it's almost like, yeah, it's kind of have like a similar yeah, let's just say background in terms of, you know, Americans, you know, living in America, discovering Germany, basically starting a life here, staying here, having your children, and being makers. So I also enjoy watching her vlogs. They're super duper Christmas spirited, and it's also really interesting watching how you know, they also do the parallel or the dual cultural traditions and the cultures in the house. You know, she speaks English with her children and sometimes German, but the husband speaks also kind of like German and English with the kids, and it's almost like the same thing at my house. It's like, yeah, we speak a lot of English, but it's a lot of the time whatever comes out of your mouth. And yeah, I mean, she really celebrates the Christmas season during this time of year, and I really enjoy watching that. So, and yeah, and another YouTube channel that I've been enjoying during this Christmas season, but also in the last few months, is the J Hook Crochet YouTube channel. So yeah, Reggie is really cool. I really enjoy watching her channel. She has a lot of brilliant ideas for her videos. She has unboxing, she has reviews from all makers, and yeah, basically makers, from crocheters to pattern makers to hand dyers, basically all those makers who speak to her, who she really likes and finds interesting, and she shares them with us on her YouTube channel. Reggie is super nice and super funny, and yesterday she had a game show where she basically had a whole bunch of donated products from makers who she's ordered from, and she basically asked questions, and whoever got the question correct and also first won a specific gift that was then, or a specific handmade product that was then donated from a handmaker. Yeah, it was really cool. It was like basically via live chat, and we were all in there, we were joking around and just having some fun. And I really like that. It really kind of like, you know, we all have, you know, YouTubers and makers and stuff like that. And of course, we all have our private lives and stuff like that. But she really kind of made it so that you could, yeah, you didn't have to be, anonymous or whatever. She knew who you were. You knew who, or you know who she is. It's not this like, you know, I guess celebrity situation. Is just kind of like community, a whole bunch of makers kind of like sitting there and interacting with one another, learning about new products, discovering new products, falling down the next rabbit hole. And I think that's always really super cool. So yeah, I enjoy watching her channel. And all the vlogs that I mentioned on this episode, I will also include in the show notes in case they, you know, or something that you think to yourself, hey, I think I can imagine watching that. Yeah, so check it out. Okay, so the next and final segment of this week's episode is the hand-dyed episode, or hand-dyed part of the episode. I have a few colorways here that I have currently in the shop, and that I have also dyed up a humongous batch again, because there was a really nice and impressive response to the Christmas colors this year, and I hope that I was able to make everyone happy with their Christmas colorways. So it's getting kind of dark here. I hope that the colors aren't too bad, but the first colorway that I have, this is our Run Run Rudolph colorway. This is in our superwash merino nylon, so 75% merino, 25% nylon, and it's really a beautiful colorway with the traditional reds and greens, the speckles, yellows and reds and greens. And this is also a high twist fingering base, I also should mention. Yeah, and then the next colorway I have is our fake plastic Christmas tree colorway. This is also in the same base, 75% merino, 25% nylon, superwash high twist. These two colorways go really well together, I think, in terms of like, you know, making something that's like in a fade direction, or whatever you kind of have planned. Christmas is always about a time where, you know, we think about greens and we think about reds. So these colorways, I think, are really, really brilliant for that. So yeah, so then I'll switch the camera now to the other colorways that aren't dried yet, but yeah, see what they're up to. like to say thank you for taking the time to tune into the channel today, to tune into the episode. And like I said, I hope you liked it and enjoyed it, and enjoyed seeing all the things I've made, all the things that I'm working on, all the information I had to share. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And I wish you all happy holidays, whatever culture you're from, whatever you're celebrating, not celebrating, and hope that yeah, that this video helps you get a little bit more into the Christmas spirit. And yeah, take care and see you again next time. Bye-bye.